Number one tip and trick is to buy used. Now, this is something that's a hurdle for a lot of people to overcome. But you hit up garage sales and Facebook Marketplace and all these other places that you can find stuff used. Think about this from a multitude of different aspects. Number one, get that hammer for $1 instead of 10 or 12 or 15. Hammer for $1. Tools, just basic tools that you need around the house, screwdrivers and staplers and stuff. Generally, when people have a garage sale, it's one step away from just throwing it in the trash. And if you need it, it's something that you plan on buying or you want to buy or you need, something you need for your house, something you need in your life, buy it. Now, one downside, of course, is if you're buying stuff that you don't need. So try to avoid that. You buy more junk, you just bring junk home. Don't bring junk home. Bring home stuff that you actually need, actually going to use, and actually need in your life. There's also a form of recycling. This stuff's just going to go fill up landfills so you can feel better about yourself, better about the environment. You're doing something good for the environment. Also, I recycle lots of stuff, boxes, packing, all this kind of stuff. Now, one thing that I've found is that when I was getting stuff prepared for my first child, of course, I was getting the playpen, the crib, strollers, car seats, all that kind of stuff. I bought everything at garage sales. Now, they say car seats are not supposed to be reused and all that kind of stuff. Had no trouble whatsoever with my car seat system, which is awesome because you unplug it from the baby car seat carrier, put it into the stroller setup for in the future. All that was $20. I got the playpen, which was a really decked out awesome playpen for $20. The crib, we actually got a brand new crib, was gifted to us. But all in all, I was happy to see this baby stuff go down. The reason baby stuff getting it used is good in a way is because you only need it for a short period of time, like a few years. After the child is 3 or 4 years old, you don't need it anymore. Most of the stuff is still really good. Of course, obviously, you want to check the condition of it. And if you're really concerned about car seats, get brand new car seats. But with that, we made back almost all the money that we spent on all this stuff when we sold it all off. And almost a break-even point. We did lose a little bit along the way. But, hey, $20 for a playpen instead of $100 is a good deal. Again, that's what we did. And, of course, you have to think about safety first for your child if you're going to follow this. Next up, when it comes to technology, video games, TVs, all this other stuff, latest isn't always greatest. I've got to say that I have found that if you don't need to upgrade your TV, if you don't need to upgrade your the video game console, that's questionable, but still, if you can still get the satisfaction of your old game system, and a lot of times the life cycle out of video game systems is much longer than it used to be. And people that make the games, the game developers, want to actually develop games on a platform that has a larger user base, so the older systems generally get the better games anyway. But still, I mean, we can go into all that. Latest isn't always greatest. Now, the early adopters always spend the most money, and the early adopters actually are the ones that are working the bugs out of these things. And when you wait a little bit on the tech, and I will revisit this more specifically on some other tech items, but if you wait a little bit, maybe a Black Friday sale comes along, which be careful with Black Friday sales. If you go to a Black Friday sale, you need to make sure that you're buying a product that's not just for the sale when it comes to tech. And this is the tech portion of this. But when you go to a Black Friday sale for tech, they will try to hit a price point, so manufacturers will use lower value, lower quality components in those items so that the lifeline on those lifespan is much lower on those than standard products that are on the shelves. So you would want to find standard products on the shelves that are discounted, like Target discounts standard products on the shelf versus Walmart, which brings in these that were actually manufactured specifically for Black Friday, and they have lesser components. It was something to consider. Yes, you might save $1, but you might have to rebuy it in 2 years. Still, waiting for a price drop, that's something to do. Next tip, this is stuff that I do. Do-it-yourself projects. Plumbing. There are certain things I can do around the house, and you can learn. You can watch a YouTube video. You can get books, manuals, figure out how to do it. I have a lot of friends in construction that kind of show me how to do something, and then I can do it myself for the rest of my life. And with that, it's one of those things, you're gaining a skill. You're learning how to do this. And you're saving what used to be $75 for a plumber to come out and visit your house is now $175. 75 in 2020, 175 now. That's a huge increase over just a few years. And that's partially because of wages going up, partially because inflation, life's expensive. These companies got to pay the people to live. So with that, it's expensive to call people out, especially for something minor you can do yourself. How silly do you feel when you just paid somebody $175? Come out and do something that took them 5 minutes, and you look at it and you go, well, physically I could have done that. If you learn these basic skills. Now, I'm not saying that you need to rerun your whole drain pipe all the way to the main drain. That's something you want to leave for them. And if you have a plumbing problem as big as that, then I actually have an $8 a month warranty that covers all the plumbing in the house and to the drain. And it's one of those warranties. You can look it up. There's like 7 different companies that do them, but it's really good. And especially if you know the company that's working with them, and everything works really well. I had 2 problems. Both would have cost me $1,200 to $1,500 out of pocket, and the warranty just covered it. $8 covered a $1,200 project. Other real easy DIY projects are painting your house. So this is something where generally interior walls, learning how to work on drywall, learning how to do basic patches, texturing, all that kind of stuff. That's very easy to learn. Now, the thing is that you probably, I learned how to do all that. I can tell where my work was done and where a professional came in. So you have to understand, when you pay a professional, you're going to pay a premium. You should get a much better job than if you're doing it yourself as a novice that just barely learned how to do this. But if you learn this stuff and you do it a lot over and over and over, then you can gain proficiency, get better. But painting's pretty easy. It's pretty basic. It's pretty rudimentary, simple, but there's skill involved at the same time. So maybe you want to paint yourself, maybe you don't. It's some DIY for yourself. All right, next tip and trick, what I do to save money, thermostat. Now, in the winter, I keep my thermostat at a lower number, like as low as I can. 68, 66, 65. There's some argument about how low we can go on it, but I'm happy with 65, 64. My wife wants it up there closer to 70. I think 70, so hot I can barely breathe. But in the summer, we argue on setting it higher, 75, 77. I think 73 is kind of nice. It's really nice in the summer. So where you set your thermostat is where you can save some money. And I'm talking in the peak of the heat, in the peak of the winter, a couple $100 in a month for us personally. Now, there's argument that you should drop it way down or way up when you're not at the house. And I don't think you should move it further than 5 degrees, or we don't move it further than 5 degrees, because depending on how old your AC system, how efficient it is, it could take hours to get it down if you just let it go and get real hot to 100 degrees in your house. You try to get it back down to in the 70s. It could be the whole evening. That's, in my opinion, very wasteful. And you're just going to have it running nonstop for 3 hours. Doesn't sound good to me. But anyway, those are some tips and tricks. So in the winter, try to set it at like 67 is, I guess, average. And then summer, 75, average. Remember, don't forget to weatherproof your house. That is something that is actually very good. Weatherproofing meaning that sealing leaks in your windows, sealing leaks anywhere in your house makes it very helpful so that you cool or hot air is not escaping. Make sure that you have the insulation needed in the attic and all of those. But we've done all of that with our house, and most of it was actually done really well when it was built, so I was really proud of that and really happy with the builders in this house. But the windows, when we actually got new windows, we went with low E windows, which are a little bit more expensive, but if you think about low E windows, they save you over time. These are bigger than just saying, hey, we're or trying to save a buck here and there. So there's more to think about, but consider low E windows if you have to replace a window, because if it breaks or something along those lines, and you can see what kind of savings you get. Also, high efficiency AC units were very helpful for this house. Upstairs we have a 3.5 ton high efficiency. Downstairs 4 ton, and it's not high efficiency. And I got to tell you that the 3.5 high efficiency outperforms the 4 ton standard by a mile. I couldn't believe the difference in it. The quietness on the outside unit, I think it's all in the outside unit. The outside unit is much quieter on a high efficiency, and it was $1,000 more. But I really think over the course of at least a decade, if not 20 years of the life of this thing, it saves us way more than $1,000. And it sounds like it's barely even working. The standard one sounds like it's struggling just to get by. This one sounds like, yeah, I could do this all day for the next 100 years. Next tip and trick: I've always bought used cars, never bought a new car ever. Now my wife got a new car. She would get her company car, and then I bought her old company car, which is what we did. And we're talking like a $13,000 car for like $7,000, which was nice. But she was able to buy her last company car before she left that job, and we've only bought used cars since. And the thing is that when you buy a brand new car, you lose about 30% of the value right away. And after that, every year you start losing perpetually less, like 10,000 or 10% or 6% and then 5%. And it gets lower and lower as it gets older. But if you get that sweet spot, the problem though is almost all used cars are going to require some maintenance. Remember the DIY, you can do a couple things yourself, but understand what you're getting into. Me personally, I like driving the used cars. I don't like thinking I paid $30,000 for something that's only worth $13,000 a few years later. That sucks. I'd rather be the guy buying it for $13,000. Next one is managing subscription services. Do you really need 7 different subscription services online? My wife's really good at this because I've never ever once signed up for one of these. So she's good at canceling the ones she signed up for. And she would continually ask me, and I'd say, I don't care. I don't watch that. But we canceled Disney Plus because the shows just all sucked. And I only watched a couple with her. They all sucked that I watched with her. But I think we still have Netflix. I think that's it. I think we're just out of Netflix. But still, managing all of these and deciding what you really need. Do you really need to spend $100 a month on different streaming platforms? In the same vein, gym memberships. I am an advocate for health, and I will make a video of finance and your health. But going to a gym, there's advantages going to gym, because if at home it's just kind of like, yeah, you kind of halfway do it. At the gym, there's other people around. You kind of have some sort of accountability. You drove there. You took time out of your day. You might as well do it and do it right and get something out of it while you're at the gym. Now, looking at these numbers, 24% attend once a week, 10% once a month, 6% never attend, 49% say they go once per week or more. Now, I've got to say, so less than half of people that have gym memberships go weekly. And it's kind of one of those crazy things that I am inconsistent with my gym memberships. But lucky for me, I got young kids that love going to the gym. And so they were like, Dad, let's go to the gym day. So it seems like every day I'm going to the gym now. So I guess that fixes that problem. But if you don't ever go and you do other things like run in your neighborhood and do things on your own, gym membership might not be worth it for you. Make a shopping list. Now, this is my wife's tip. She makes a shopping list. And anytime, like, we need something, she says, put it on the list, put it on the list. And I go to the store every day. I mean, I have a routine. I do things. But I don't buy stuff every day. And the thing is that when I get it on the list, I know she's going to get it. I don't have to worry about it. But making a list, make sure you get what you need. You stick to that list. And then if you buy something that's not on the list, you start to question it. Like, why am I buying these drumstick ice cream drumsticks? Do I really need that in my life? Most people say yes, but do you really? So that's one good way to do it. While you're at the house thinking, what do we truly need? I make this list versus what's in your cart. That's a good way to evaluate, are you overspending? Next up, we got credit card rewards. The thing is, this is advanced savings. if you are not good with credit cards and you are going to overspend because you're swiping plastic versus cash, which is a lot of people out there, this is not for you. But if you are good with the credit cards, you are good with not overspending, you can get a certain amount, 1%, 3%, 5%, depending on the card, depending on what the month is and what the spending requirements are. But there's a lot of things to it. You can get some rewards. All our credit cards, literally, we just take it as a credit to go towards something we bought and move on down the road. It could be $30, it could be $100 a month, depending on how much we spend. But if you do it right and you're not paying any interest or late fees or any of that kind of stuff, rewards are worth it. Lastly, cell phones. Using old cell phones. You don't need the latest and greatest. You used to call me on my cell phone. Hey, Drake, is that the same phone that you've been using since 2016? Nah, Mike. Rappers can't be using that whack old phone you use. I got this brand new iPhone 27. I don't know what the new iPhone is. I was actually going to plan to do an entire video about this. It doesn't really matter if you have the latest or greatest iPhone or Samsung or whatever phone that's out there, Motorola, Yumoto. The thing about this is I love tech. I am a tech junkie, but I don't want to spend the money on it. I like to lag the tech market because I'm making a lot more money off that. The thing about this is that they continually try to just get more money out of you. $1,300 for a new iPhone or whatever is not worth it. And at the end of the day, most people don't utilize it to its maximum capacity, and therefore, for what you need or what I need on a daily basis, and what most people need on a daily basis, isn't the latest and greatest. And in fact, my cell phone is from 2016. It does just fine. I could do a whole video about it. I have to kind of clear out a lot of stuff occasionally because the memory's not quite as good as these modern phones, but it still functions properly for everything I need. Today, in 2024, yep, it's 8 years old. All right, so I hope these tips and tricks were helpful for you to save a buck or two. But you know what's more important? Leave in a comment below how you save a buck. What do you do to save money? And again, like and subscribe to Financial Independence. And come back and see me. Financial Independence out.